A taxi driver becomes the most feared criminal in Nigeria. He robs banks, ambushes police convoys, and kills officers in broad daylight. His reign of terror throws security forces into utter confusion. If you've never heard about the man who held an entire state hostage and finally met his brutal end at the firing squad, this is that story. So, it's the 1980s. The motorparks of the former Bendel State are alive with shouting drivers, bus conductors, and traders selling everything from kola nuts to cheap cigarettes. In the middle of this noise is a young taxi driver named Lawrence Anini. The streets call him the Law. Now, if you've spent any time around Nigerian motorparks, you know they are not just transport hubs. Information flows through motorparks faster than radio. You hear who is doing what, who got arrested, who's making money, and how they are making the money. Drivers, hustlers, petty criminals, and sometimes police officers who know who is who, they all pass through. And Anini, he doesn't just pass through. He listens, he studies, and he builds connections. He's the guy sitting quietly in the corner while everyone else is talking. He's taking mental notes, learning routes, and nobody really pays him any much attention. But by the early 1980s, Anini has graduated. He's not just a taxi driver anymore. He's a getaway man. Now, being a getaway driver might not sound glamorous, but in the criminal world, it's one of the most valuable skills you can have. You can plan the perfect robbery, but if your driver doesn't know the routes, you're going to prison. Anini knows every shortcut and every back road in Bendel State, and that skill earns him something money can't buy: respect. Soon, he's not only driving robbers, he's leading them. So, here's the thing. By 1986, Nigeria is restless. The oil boom years are cracking, jobs are scarce, and poverty is heavy. Armed robbery has been on the rise since the 1970s, but what Anini brings is something totally different. He doesn't hide in the shadows, he wants to be seen. His gang goes on a spree that sends fear rippling across Bendel State. Banks are stormed, payroll vans are hijacked, highways are turned into ambush zones, and bus passengers are ordered out at gunpoint. And the attacks keep escalating, not just on civilians, but on the police themselves. Now, robbing civilians is one thing, but attacking police officers, that's a whole different level of audacity. And then comes the moment that turns Anini from a criminal into a legend. October 1st, 1986. While the rest of the country commemorates Nigeria's Independence Day, Anini's men plan something audacious. They ambushed the convoy of the Bendel State Police Commissioner. Not a random patrol, the commissioner himself. Bullets fly, cars screech, tires blow out, glass shatters across the road, and in the chaos, the commissioner barely escapes with his life. The message is clear. Nobody is safe. Not even the people whose job it is to keep you safe. For a while, Anini and his gang have protection from within the police force itself. There are deals, kickbacks, shares of the loot quietly passed along. It's an arrangement, and as long as everyone gets paid, the system works beautifully. Now, if you're shocked by that, then you haven't been paying attention to Nigerian history, because this is the same pattern we see again and again. The line between law enforcement and criminality isn't always as clear as people think. Sometimes police officers end up working with the criminals they're supposed to be catching. But arrangements like these only work when everyone keeps their end of the deal. And one time, someone doesn't. Two of Anini's men are arrested and prosecuted despite those arrangements, and Anini takes it personal. He declares war on the police openly. Officers are ambushed on patrol, shot at checkpoints, and even targeted at their homes. By the end of 1986, at least 9 police officers are dead. Before it's all over, the number reaches 11. Ordinary people are terrified, police officers are demoralized. Some admit privately that they avoid patrolling at night because who wants to meet an enemy on the road? And here's the thing that makes this period truly insane. Anini is not hiding. He's not in some remote forest. He's in the city, driving around, living openly, almost daring the police to come arrest him. Yet they can't. And then comes the most famous question of that entire year. Head of State Ibrahim Babangida, frustrated and embarrassed, goes on national broadcasts and asks his Inspector General of Police a simple question. My friend, where is Anini? Now, think about what that question really means. The head of state, the most powerful man in Nigeria, is publicly admitting that his entire security apparatus cannot find one man, one criminal, in one state. Well, the pressure becomes unbearable, and so the police have no choice but to act. December 3rd, 1986, Benin City. After months of failed raids, a tip finally leads them to a house at number 26 Onyawosa Street. The raid is intense, shots are fired, and Anini tries to escape, but a bullet catches him in the leg and he collapses. His arrest is brutal. Later, the leg is amputated, and just like that, the most wanted man in Nigeria is caught. When he is eventually interrogated, what comes out of his mouth shocks the nation even more than his capture. From that wheelchair, Anini begins to confess. He names his gang members, he describes their robberies in detail, but most importantly, he exposes the rot inside the very police force that was supposed to stop him. He names a senior police officer, DSP George Inyamu, not a corrupt constable, not some low-ranking officer looking the other way, a deputy superintendent of police who was actively supplying Anini's gang with weapons, with intelligence, and with protection. The revelation sends shockwaves through Nigeria. By March 1987, Anini, Inyamu, and the remaining gang members faced the Benin Robbery and Firearms Tribunal. The proceedings move fast, evidence stacks high. Survivors take the stand and recount nights of terror, bus hijacks, bank raids, the Independence Day ambush, and many other events. The courtroom hears testimony after testimony, and the picture that emerges is damning. There is no escape, not this time. The verdict finally drops: death by firing squad. Now, in most countries, an execution is a solemn private affair. But what happens next in Benin City is anything but. March 29th, 1987, Ekenwan Road Execution Ground, Benin City. Thousands gather. Not hundreds, thousands. It feels less like an execution and more like a carnival. People climb trees, scale walls, stand on rooftops. Some come with snacks. Children sit on their father's shoulders. Hawkers sell drinks nearby. Anini and his men are tied to stakes, his wheelchair parked nearby. The man who once outran every siren in Bendel State can no longer stand on his own 2 feet. Soldiers raise their rifles. The crowd holds its breath. The shots crack the air, and the log collapses into the sand. Lawrence Anini's reign lasts barely a year, but in that year, he exposed something terrifying. He exposed a system where the police and the criminals are not always on different sides. Anini was executed in 1987, but the system that created and aided him, well, that's a story for another day. If you enjoyed this story and would want to see more like it, then please like, share, and subscribe for more.